All right. Can you update through a view? Well, if the view is pretty simple, which this one is, you certainly can. I can say, for example, update HR.HR employees view, set the first name equal to Grant, where the last name is equal to King. Not going to find anybody. And actually, that was kind of dumb. Don't select off of a column like that. It's probably better to select off the actual key. So employee ID is equal to 100. All right, so watch this. When I go update, it's got no problem. But what did it update? Did it update the view? No, it didn't really update the view. It updated the table behind the view. If I was to go select asterisks from HR employees, you'll see what the heck? Hold the phone. Oh, well, that's a good point. I might be dealing with a transaction here as well. I'll tell you what, let me just do a quick little, let this guy have the ability to sort of grant. So now if I take this select statement and so one case is going against the table, one's the view. Let me just quickly label that for you, view, and then label that for your table. All right, so if I go select asterisks from HR employees, there's Grant. Right now, actually, curiously enough, what is it over here? It's still Stephen. So see the transaction, which I do talk about a little bit more later. But basically, the deal is at this point, it's fairly safe to say that in this work sheet, all my updates only exist within this worksheet until I either commit or roll back. All right, but I'm not going to get into that right now. So all I wanted you to see is that I went and I updated a view, and what it did is it went through the view to the base table, and it updated that base table. All right, so let's do a quick little rollback, and let's have a look again at the view, and now we're back to Steve. Good deal. Okay, so that's updating through a view, and in class I'll probably talk more about that. If you didn't want, by the way, an update to happen through a view, there is a neat way to do that. I think, oh, would have been good had I looked it up. Oh boy. Nope. Well, there'll be some other time I'll talk about it, but there's basically you can make a view a read-only view. Actually, let me just pause the video and quickly look up the syntax. It's pretty easy. I was so close. With read-only. So with read-only, if I basically set this guy up to be a read-only view, then if I tried to do an update like this one, it's going to say, dude, you can't because it's a read-only view. So that's one way I could lock it down. But imagine instead of that, what I want to do is I wanted to allow updates to certain columns, but not others. Certain columns, but not others. So first of all, let me recreate this view. All right, so now this view is basically back to being a normal view. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically say, the logic here is I only want to update the last name. Well, to do that, what we need to do is put a trigger on a view. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, put a trigger on a view. We're not going to do that here, by the way. We're going to go back to this HR schema. All right, so putting a trigger on a view. Well, surprisingly enough, it's not that hard. You go create or replace trigger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call that trigger, oh, I don't know. Yeah, I tell you what, I'll just call it HR employees DML trigger. Now, this is a trigger. Now, normally at this point, we'd be going and we'd be using events, right? And this isn't going to be event. We're going to basically say instead of an insert, actually not update on HR employees view. So instead of doing that, begin, don't do anything, and end. And then typically what we want to do is put the name of the thing down. So this right here is an incredibly useless trigger, but watch this. I'm going to go, and it creates it, he says. No, it doesn't, because it's employees. So do that, I go, and no problem, created a trigger. Now watch this. So when I do an update, it seemed to work, but watch what happens. The update never happened. All right, so basically instead of doing an update, it did nothing. Instead of doing an update, it did nothing. We can kind of, well, I'm not gonna make this a hello world program. Just imagine it did nothing. Now, this is a statement level trigger. And what I want to do is I want it to fire only when actually I'm going to target the last name. Only when the last name has changed. Fire only when the last name has changed. So you know what? I actually have decided to make this we're going to make it a talkative trigger. So over here, I'm going to set the server output on. Okay, so this is going to make sure that the print line statements work. Let's do that. Good. Do that too. And then over here, I'm going to put a nice little print statement, DBMS output, put line, ouch. Okay, so we got ourselves a nice little trigger. It's got the whole ouch thing going on. When I go ahead and do an update, there's our ouch. All right, let's do it again just so you can see it again. There's our ouch. Now it's a statement level trigger. If I wanted to fire for every row, what will that look like? Well, you just go for each row. And the reason we want it for each row is this way we'll be able to see, did the new last name change? Is it different than the old last name? That's kind of what we're looking for. So if I do this, the trigger has now been compiled. Let's imagine that I'm going to just basically set everybody's last name to Grant, semicolon, do a nice little update. That's a whole bunch of ouches. All right, so there you go. So now let's do a quick little rollback so I don't accidentally cause everyone to add my name. Good deal. So, and that's also, by the way, let's change this to last name just because that's where I'm going. We're going to go last name. All right, clear the screen, run the update. Yeah, this is targeting one row, one person. Okay, good deal. So now what I want to do is just to demonstrate this point, I'm going to say DBMS output put line. I'm going to say, can you please print the old last name? And then I'll just repeat that, but make it get the new last name. This will remind you guys that row level triggers have a concept of what the new record was and what the old record was. Back over here, we're going to quickly undo that, although again, they're different. Let's get rid of the ouch, it's dumb. All right, so let's go. So he's been compiled. We go back over here, we do a nice little update, boom, and we can see that King has changed to Grant, right? So that's what the old one is, that's what the new one is. Good deal, that's awesome. So now what we can say is we can go on further and say, if the old dot last name is not equal, or another way to say that is this way, not equal to new dot last name, then at this point I'm going to do another print statement, copy, paste, going to print different names. All right, and then we do a little end if. So let's compile that. It's compiled. Let's go ahead and clear the wreckage and clear whatever happened there. And let's do a little update. And we get an explosion because the trigger is invalid. Let's go back here for a second and see what happened. Oh my goodness. I have a syntax error and a new trigger. Notice, by the way, the danger of allowing that to continue, because what it would do is there could no longer be any update. Oh, so you're still mad. All right, come on. If that is that, then print that. What is the problem? So you know what? I don't think this is it, but I'm going to do this anyway. All right, let's do a nice little compile. Are you still mad? Encountered symbol different names. You seem pretty messed up here. So, single quote. All right, there you go. That's again, compile it. Good. All right. Nice to see some quick debugging while we're trying to do this example. All right, actually meant to clear. Okay, so that guy's been compiled. So if I just clear the wreckage, do a little update. So King, Grant, different names. All right, so that's pretty cool, right? So that's pretty cool. So this trigger now knows that the names can change. All right, and now maybe what I could do now is say else. So I only want this thing to fire off when the name has changed. So I'm going to go else, same name. All right, let's go. And we'll go into here. Or we'll, again, test, first of all, that, and that worked. Cool. Copy. Let's change it back to King. We should see the same thing. Right? Same names now, right? Same names. Good deal. All right, so now back over to here. So we've got our old last name and our new last name. So now all I really want to do here is basically cause an error if there was a problem, like an error if the name was not the same. So because basically I don't want people to think that an update happened when it didn't actually happen, right? So I'm going to have a nice little raise application error. I'm going to give it a nice number, which in theory we've standardized across the company. I'm going to basically say only last names can be updated and must be different. All right, fairly meaningful thing. Let's make it look a little bit nicer. All right, let's go. So compile cleanly. Let's set this to Grant. And we'll see that the update worked. Let's set it to Grant actually again. Oh, that's right, I'm not doing any updates. So it's not going to see it. Okay, now let's set it to King. It already is King. And bang, it explodes with a nice little message saying only the last names can be updated. Awesome. So now what I would do is instead of having different last names, what I would do here is, remember, this trigger is on an actual view, not the table. So now what I'm basically saying is instead of trying to update the view, I'd rather you go update the table. So update, HR underscore employee. So update the actual base table and set the last name equaling to what the person passed in, where, oh, that's horrible. Oh, actually, I can still do it. Where the employee ID is the old employee ID. This is assuming no one's changing the employee ID, which I guess I could build in some code for that, but that's what this is assuming. So let's just go ahead, actually do a rollback quickly. Let's do that. That's going to be a nice clean compile. All right, so now clearing the wreckage, we're going to change this to Grant. We're going to go and do our little update. Update worked without a problem. Now we're going to go do our update again. Now this time it should actually blow up. Boom, it blew up because the last name's Grant. All right, what if I decide to change the first name to Grant? Because why not call someone Grant? Why not? first name. So I'm going to update the first name. So if I update the first name, the last name is not going to change. And so, bang, it's going to blow up. Only last names can be updated. So all I'm going to do now is just clean that up a little bit. Actually, do a quick little rollback. And so now this will be kind of our test here. Copy, paste. I'm going to change. If I run that again, it should blow up. And then if I try to update something else, so if I update the oh, they're all already updated. So update last name, update last name. All right, doing a rollback. Should be clean, nothing going on here. Let's do our little update. Update. There's Grant. Did that really do it? Yes, it did. Let's have a look. There's my last name being changed to Grant in the view. This is my last name being changed to Grant in the table. Let's now do this update and change the last name to Grant again. I'm going to say, boom, you can't. Only last names must be, can change and can only be different. Okay, I'm going to now try to update the view, the first name. You go, and bang. All right, that's good. That's a good enough demonstration. Good deal. I'll probably explore this more in class, but that's what I got for you for the instead of trigger. The instead of trigger, which is only going to work on views.